Welcome back to Katana TCG. In this week's early deck preview, we're going to be taking a look at Magnezone VSTAR, which is going to be a part of our Lost Origin set, which all the hype is surrounding right now. The other half of that set will be releasing in Japan in just 2 weeks. So we're going to go ahead and dive in with the assets that are already made available to us and see how we can apply this card in the standard format. When it's time to flex on your opponents in Top Cut this season, or even just upgrade your TCG accessories, make sure you're checking out inkgaming.com. They have a wide variety of custom playmats, custom dice bags, face masks, as well as mouse pads too, and a grip of sleeves and dice and deck boxes, all your TCG accessory needs. And you can use the code DADSPOD10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order from inkgaming.com. Your game, your style. So Magnezone VSTAR is our very first lightning type VSTAR that's been offered to us by TPCI, and it appears to have a tremendous amount of merit. It is a very cool looking card, and the deck itself revolves very loosely around the previous Whimsicott deck that we've seen of old. So now we're going to dive into what Magnezone V and VSTAR do, and then we'll kind of talk about all the cards surrounding it in this list. Magnezone V with 210 HP, weakness to fighting, and a 2 retreat cost. For 1 lightning and 1 colorless, it does pulling magnetism. You switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon, and now you do 40 damage to that active Pokemon. And for 1 lightning and 2 colorless, it does splitting beam for 90 damage, and it does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Magnezone VSTAR has 270 HP. It is a lightning type Pokemon with a weakness to fighting and a 2 retreat cost as well. For 1 lightning and 2 colorless, it does magnet grip for 180 damage, and then you go into your deck and grab 2 item cards, which is incredibly powerful. We've seen things like Togekiss, which allow you to go grab any cards, but in this particular deck you are limited to grabbing item cards, but we do play a lot of powerful items. And its VSTAR Power Electrostar for 2 lightning energy does 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon, and we just got word that we're not going to have a standard rotation till early 2023, so being able to deal 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Sobble, 2 of your opponent's Bidoof, or maybe even a Meloetta and soften something else up on the bench is very powerful for 2 energy. The draw support that we've elected to go with in this particular deck is none other than the Bidoof and Bibarel line, specifically for its Industrious Incisor's ability to draw up to 5 cards into our hand once per turn, once per Industrious Incisor's ability available to you. And now it's time to kind of dig into the spicy tech that I have featured in this list. We've included a 1 of Emolga from the Evolving Skies set, 70 HP, free retreat, which is probably the most important part of this card, and it has an attack for 1 lightning energy called Thundershock. It does 30 damage, which is perfect for bopping Sobbles, and if you're swinging into something with more than 60 HP, you flip a coin, and if it's heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Very powerful if you can get your opponent stuck in the active, as switch cards aren't so prevalent in this format, and it's more or less just retreating into the necessary attackers on your opponent's behalf. We've also opted to include a Miltank because we do run a high count of double turbo energy. We are actually able to get this bad boy out into play, and we play Ordinary Rod to kind of recycle it back in. There's a mild amount of control to this list, so being able to stave off damage from any of your opponent's V or VMAX or V-Star Pokemon is very good. We've also included a Celebrations Yveltal, again because we're using the double turbo energy. We're able to use its Cry of Destruction attack, which allows you to discard up to 3 special energy from your opponent's Pokemon, specifically for the Mew matchup, but it could be very useful against other decks. And to round out our Pokemon count, we have a 1 of Manaphy with its Wave Veil ability that allows us to prevent all damage done to our benched Pokemon by attacks from our opponent's Pokemon. We are also playing a 4 count of Quick Ball and a 3 count of Ultra Ball. This is just a very consistent engine to be utilized with the Industrious Incisor's ability. Plenty of Pokemon search to kind of get our necessary attackers, or just counters to the board state as we see fit. We are playing a 3 count of Marnie, which allows us to shuffle our hand to the bottom of the deck, draw 5 cards, and then our opponent has to do the same and they draw 4. We are playing a 2 count of Boss's Orders to be able to gust our opponent's bench Pokemon into the active and attack as we see fit. We're also playing a 2 count of Avery. Things like Palkia, Mew VMAX, as well as the Regigigas deck all have a really hard time coming back from us being able to shorten their bench and limit their resources. And it wouldn't be a Katana deck without a 1 of Raihan. If one of our Pokemon was knocked out the previous turn, we're able to accelerate a basic energy from our discard pile onto one of our Pokemon and go into our deck and grab 1 of any card. And here's where we really get to capitalize on Magnezone's magnetic grip attack that allows us to deal 180 damage plus grab 2 item cards. We are playing 4 Crushing Hammers, which is everyone's favorite card. You flip a coin. If it's heads, you discard an energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. The magnetic grip attack will allow you to go into your deck and potentially grab 2 of these if you needed to, and setting your opponent back 2 energy attachments feels bad in any archetype. We're playing a 3 count of Fan of Waves. Being able to deny Fusion Strike energy as well as double turbo energy feels really good. We are also playing a 1 count of the Ordinary Rod to be able to reutilize the Miltank as well as shuffle in other necessary resources in the form of 2 basic energy or 2 Pokemon from our discard pile into our deck. Canceling Cologne is also another wonderful searchable item card that we can grab with the Magnet Grip attack. Until the end of our turn, our opponent's active Pokemon have no abilities, which is actually really powerful because if you're able to gust the Manaphy into the active, shut off its Wave Veil ability, and then you're able to use the Electro Star attack to do 90 damage to 2 of our opponent's Pokemon, even when Manaphy's in play. There are also other scenarios where we may need to swing through Miltank with Magnezone, and the Canceling Cologne will do just that. You're also playing a 1 of Tool Scrapper where we choose 2 of our opponent's Pokemon tools attached to their Pokemon and discard them. Tool Scrapper is perfect for things like Big Charm, Cape of Toughness, as well as Choice Belts. We're also playing a 1 of Energy Loto to be able to look at the top 7 cards of our deck, reveal an energy card we find there, and put it into our hand and shuffle the other cards back into our deck. This is the difference between not having the Speed Lightning energy to draw an extra 2 cards, or have the double turbo energy attachment to attack with Magnezone or Yveltal or Miltank. We're running 2 Big Charm to put our Magnezone up to a whopping 300 HP, which is pretty good. We are playing a 1 of Air Balloon to turn any of our other Pokemon with a 2 retreat cost or less into a pivot card. We're also playing 4 Path to the Peak to really put our opponent at a disadvantage, hopefully denying them things like Starbirth, as well as turning off things like the Skyscraper ability because we play so much special energy in this deck. We're playing 4 Speed Lightning Energy. When you attach this to a Lightning Pokemon, it allows you to draw 2 cards. We're playing 4 Basic Lightning Energy, and we're playing 4 Double Turbo Energy because we're able to use it with Yveltal and Miltank, as well as fulfill half of the Magnezone's attack cost. It seems like a really simple deck, but at any given moment you can hit for 180 damage and the following turn follow up with a Fan of Waves plus a Crushing Hammer, or maybe even just going in with the Energy Loto as well as a Tool Scrapper to continuously attack with other things in our board state. Between things like Avery, Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves, as well as Tool Scrapper, we're actually putting a lot of pressure on our opponent. This deck has actually been a lot of fun to play. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can really do about the fighting weakness, so you're just going to have to take those matchups on the chin. But other than that, I've had a lot of success playing against things like Mew VMAX, as well as the almighty Palkia that has taken over the standard format. I hope you enjoyed my Magnezone VSTAR early deck preview and all of its disruptive capabilities. If you enjoyed my content, make sure you like the video, comment below which deck you'd like to see next week, and then subscribe to my channel and turn your notifications on so that you can get alerts every time I post an early deck preview like this. And be sure to check out the Pokedads podcast where we post a new episode every Friday, talking about the meta, talking about all things Pokemon, and most importantly, talking about being Pokedads. Deuces. Make sure you share this video to scare a Palkia player.